Wait, does that mean we're already started?
I guess no. That's not how it
okay.
works. That's not how it works.
Okay.
That's never how it worked.
I think it has been how it worked so far.
And we've pulled a fast one on people before. Like, oh yeah, we started after they start talking about some weird shit. But no, we never had that as like a rule. But it can be if you want it to be.
It does kind of feel like feel like we started already,
I think
right?
so. I think we should just get into it.
Okay. Well then, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been probably like 2 years ish.
Is
One
it
and a half.
2 years.
Because the last one we did was right before Fate 2.
You're right.
Yeah, because it was like
That's
we had
absurd.
Frizo on.
Right, and then like for the rest of that year, we didn't do anything, and then it was 2023. Didn't do anything there.
Yep, they were lazy
Almost
and
2
just
years ago.
sat on our asses and didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
Not a single thing of note. Just
Nothing.
sat there.
I was waiting for this.
I stared at a wall for a little while. That was nice.
Yeah, nice.
It was just a plain white wall. I learned
Did
a
you
lot.
see the texture?
Did I see what?
The texture of the wall, like.
There wasn't some fancy wall with texture, man. What kind
was
of wall are
just
you
straight
looking
up-
at? Like,
okay.
you at the Ritz-Carlton with a texture wall, bro?
Yeah.
No, I was in the dungeon. It was just the dungeon, man.
Nah, fair.
White
The
walls.
White wall dungeon?
Padded cell. I was
Like the back rooms.
sure. I mean, it was, I could leave. I wasn't trapped
okay.
there. It was front rooms, maybe.
Okay, well.
You know.
I'm glad you got out of there at least, and now we're back.
Thank you. Yeah, I escaped.
Yeah, no guest this time.
No, I'm done talking with people. I'm sick of it. I don't like.
They keep coming on this show and ruining our podcast with their opinions and things they want to say.
They act like it's their show, and
Yeah.
I'm just like super tired of it because,
Friso,
dude, that guy.
he even invited himself.
Yeah, what the hell, man? We had to be really careful not to bring it up around him this time because he would have jumped at
Yo,
the
for
chance to come
sure.
right back. No.
No.
Really, we do really like our guests. We've had a lot of fun with everybody, but
Yeah.
I think it's nice that we have like just a one-on-one after such a long time of not doing it.
For sure.
We have a lot to talk about.
No stress. But there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
Like, how many
there's-
things happened since Fate 2?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. We have to like cut out a lot because I mean we can talk about like DreamHack, Arcamelee, Fate 3, even Fate 2, but
Festa.
like we're Festa, but we're probably just gonna talk about the most recent stuff.
For
Like,
sure.
We're not gonna harp on old stuff. But depending on whatever we might get into, like other tournaments. Festa specifically might come up just naturally because it was such a fun
It was
time,
so
but,
fun. Dude,
yeah, it was
we have to be ready for the sign-ups next
yeah,
time.
dude, I've been checking the Discord like every day just in case that there's some
Yeah.
like secret info drop.
Yeah, it was funny because that guy is Festa TO. He messaged me like a day before the announcement went live, like, "Oh, we're gonna have a little announcement tomorrow." He couldn't like hold it in, and he messaged me. And at first I was like, "Yo, sick! Phoenix Blue is gonna hold another tournament. That's awesome!" And then 10 seconds later, it dawned on me like, "Wait, this is probably about Festa."
They're talking about Festa.
They're talking about, and then I just melted on the spot. Like my brain was fried.
You forgot everything you know.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
no, but I mean, it has come up naturally now. I guess we are just talking about Festa now, but
Yeah.
it was like an amazing tournament, a great time. But I can imagine how much stress the TOs were under.
Oh, for
in
sure.
the lead up. Maybe at the actual event it was a little bit less, but even then, you're managing a group of what I would consider, in a nice way, man children. You know.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, I think everybody who was there at least had like a good sense of how
Responsibility
to
as well.
how to maintain like living on an island for a week,
Right,
food wise, sort of
Yeah,
like
exactly.
logistics wise. So everybody was like super sound there and was a lot of fun. And the TOs obviously, a lot of stress having to manage all those people on a remote
sure.
island somewhere. Already TOs are kind of like babysitters, but this was just like another level
For sure. I think it's also nice that it's like more of a vacation with homies and then also a little bit of a Smash tournament instead
Yeah.
of like more of everything has to be in order and done right and everything has to finish on time because the venue is closing. No, man.
Yeah, it's
The venue is an island. The world is your oyster.
Yeah, you have nowhere to be.
Yeah.
Like you have no train to catch. So
You have nowhere to pee either.
very true. That was
You got to be
they
ready
left
for
that
that.
one out of the brochure. I don't know. Yeah, no, but it was a lot of fun. Like
Yeah.
you said, it was just to hang out. I think I spent more time just chilling out and like relaxing than I did playing Melee. I think I played
too.
like only a handful of Melee games
Yeah.
in total.
It's also like much better of an experience to meet smashers and like outside of the game. I mean, of course, there's going to be talk about Melee as well. But like, I've met so many people at Festa where we're all like friends now. Like we've got like the German people from like Bremen, I think. And they come over to the Dutch tournaments now. They sleep over at our place. We got the people from Switzerland. Shout outs to 110 and Diamond and Baked Goods and Jariden, legends. It was so fun, you know. It's so many new people to meet. Astar and Shima as well. I talked a lot with them, and I never really talked to them before. And now it feels like my friend group has extended even further than I could ever hope to imagine.
I mean, it also goes without saying that like when you or I are at a tournament, we're usually preoccupied with like a million other things, and we'll get into what those things are maybe later, but also mainly commentary, playing, doubles, singles, anything else. So it's sort of like refreshing to be at a tournament where the entire focus is on socializing, because we don't get that much opportunity to talk to people. And in that sense, when you do get a chance, you usually go to the people you already know. Yeah. You know, like you're just going to go to your friends and be like, yo, let's hang out for like an hour before my next commentary block, whatever. But at Festa, like you said, there's so much downtime. Yeah. You're basically just hanging out like the whole week.
And like the cooking as well. It's like...
And you're just bound to end up at a table with people that you don't know or like that you're not super familiar with. But everybody is so welcoming and nice that like you almost always felt like you were a part of the conversation, even if you came in at some random point, or they would loop you in, or you would just like start chatting shit with one other person who was just hanging out as well. That kind of vibe was just really nice to have, because it's something that I used to have at Melee tournaments, like bigger Melee tournaments. And that sort of evolved into what we do now, which is like all this work and, you know, talking to people we know, catching up with people internationally. And then Festa now represents what those Melee tournaments used to be for me, which was like this exciting, you know, big vacation sort of thing. You go and you meet all these people and you have all this downtime to hang out and talk to whoever the fuck from Sweden. Or so, yeah, it's just, it's very refreshing, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that also kind of set in for me with, for example, Arcamelee. We both went there. We didn't attend singles. Yep. That was the first time I didn't play singles when I went to a tournament to, you know, commentate. And I was like, oh yeah, now we finally have some time to chill instead of like being busy the whole day and, you know, being drained at the end of the day, which is like, it's okay, but it's like really fun to do all these things, obviously, but it's nice to switch it up every once in a while. So I think I'm going to keep doing that. I didn't attend Somnio 4 either. I mean, I was there, but I didn't do singles, just do doubles and chill, you know? It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same sort of realization at Arcamelee, because it was sort of interesting to be on the outside of this, I don't want to say crisis, but the difficulties that the TO team faced right before the tournament with like the rooms being locked away, and like they had to reorganize how their floor plan and everything. So not being a competitor...
It's all right.
Not being a competitor in that sense was really nice, because I had the option to just sort of like not involve myself in that chaos. You know, you can just sort of like distance yourself from it and enjoy the event regardless. It didn't make the event any worse, I think, for most people. I think they did a good job of managing and making sure that like this didn't tank everything. You know, like they still had enough setups.
It was just harder for them.
It was way more work for the TOs. Yeah, I think they were put into a tricky spot. But yeah, that sort of helped my experience of Arcamelee in general, because now I have like a super positive outlook on like how the whole tournament went. Yeah. And some other people might have some more, let's say, criticism that's like outside the TO team's control. And then, it also made me realize at Somnio 4, when you weren't competing and I was, like how much I missed that opportunity to just like take it easy and not worry about bracket and everything. And then that sort of ate into like my motivation to play a little bit. So I think finding a happy balance is like the next step for me. For sure. Finding out how I can gauge whether I want to actually play before the day arrives. Yeah. Because I don't want to DQ on the day. You know, like,
no, that's shitty.
You got to pick your battles.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, speaking of Somnio 4, like shout outs to the Netherlands, because this whole year had been packed with events. I was on the PR panel. Like the amount of events that we actually had was like way more. So we actually had to up attendance requirements, or not had to, but like we did.
We did, yeah.
Because it made sense. It's like there's so many more events. You have so many more opportunities to play.
Yeah.
Like you should be attending more. But yeah, we had all these Somnio events. We had some Boulevard events. We had
DSEA. That was just one still.
We had the Vinyl Destination events as well. Was the last Jukenberg last year? Or was that the year before?
The last Slok, number 13. That was in January.
Yeah.
That was actually the first time I attended a juke.
Wow.
Which is crazy because I was on the Jukenborg Cypher too as
Yeah,
well.
right? It's
It's
a bit
like, oh
weird.
yeah, I'm in this like inner circle, and then at the same time, I never been to a tournament.
Yeah,
Just never happened.
You're the imposter.
Yeah, I mean, I did rap about it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think in like the credits beat, I was like, I've never been here, but the vibes are immaculate, something like that, like in Dutch.
But yeah, it was super cool. And again, like all those tournaments, no complaints across the board.
For
I had
sure.
a good time.
Really
Pretty much
good.
every single one.
And it's all of this different tournaments bring such a different flair to the scene. Because I mean, obviously, Jukenborg, rest in peace. Like a very different tournament than, for example, a Somnio, where it's more like streamlined and more competitive, or a DSEA, which is more like a little bit more chill, but also pretty competitive. And then like Final Destination is a house tournament, right? It's like it's also different. And Boulevard is a cafe. It's like it's really awesome to have the variety and the opportunity to go to so many different places in the Netherlands. It's really nice.
Agreed.
But
But it's
Hyperfocus, of course.
Hyperfocus as well. Yeah, I had only been in like 2017, I think.
I've
I went
never
to
been.
one. And it was
Sorry.
cool. I have no complaints. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. But again, I think I'm pretty easy to please in the tournament department. Like I'm not so picky about, what kind of setups you have and like,
Yeah.
what the venue's like and entry fee and all this. Like
Yeah,
as
for
long
sure.
as you have melee and the bracket's not running until like midnight,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
No
Feel
complaints.
You. I feel you. I'm pretty easy to please as well.
Yeah, I mean, can tell. I don't even know what that means. Doesn't even mean anything.
Where are you gonna go with that?
Your guess is as good as mine, man.
So, speaking of NL,
Right.
we got the NL PR.
We did. It just came out.
Yeah, it was-
it came out like early January. but
Just came out
Pretty
a couple
much
weeks
just
ago.
came out, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really sick. I really liked the projecting thing in the venue.
Yeah.
Where shouts to Happy Meals that he set that all up, and then the animation from Jim Morrison as well. Really cool. Really
Yeah.
nice.
Shout out to everybody involved. So those two, and then all the panel members, Stein, Knuckles, Aaron, Nago, Noxa, and
Not you.
saving best
Why
for last.
Why didn't you put me on number one in your ballot?
I
Come on,
I tried, and they said they were gonna kick me out.
dude. Fair enough.
No, I've had a really good time being on those panels, like talking with those players and getting a chance to like come to grips with how all that works, because I had no idea until last year when I did it for my first time. And then this year I felt a little bit more experienced, but I was also still felt like the baby in the group where I'm like, you guys all know better than me.
But it's not that true anymore at this point,
No.
right? I think you're one of the most, like, you probably have the biggest grasp of, like, everyone's skill level because you host your own local with Bunker, and you go to all the boulevards, and I mean, you don't go to Toto, so maybe you don't know as much about that side of the country, but still, like, that's such a big advantage to have, right?
Yeah.
On the panel.
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't matter how well you think you know how
Yeah.
good someone is.
Just look at the results.
You have
bro.
to look at the results
Just
and
look
sort
at
of
the
like
results.
put those at the wayside. Like put
Yeah.
your opinions at the wayside, because as soon as you let your own, like, oh, this guy, I played him in friendlies and he's really good.
Right.
It's a bit of an extreme example because
Yeah.
nobody would ever
He
do
took
that.
a game.
But he took, not that nobody would ever beat me in friendlies, but that nobody would ever use friendlies as a means
Yeah.
to like judge
No,
someone's
of
skill.
course.
You have to sort of like put that away and just be like, no,
Yeah.
this guy lost to this person, and this person
That
is
makes
not
him
that
a
good.
shitter.
That makes him the worst player on the ballot. No, so it was interesting. It's also a good like thought exercise for yourself
Yeah.
to see like how results matter and like
Yeah.
what you value as a panelist, because there's been so much debate as well with this recent top 100 came out, like how you decide subjective things
Yeah.
in the ballot, right? Like what do you prefer, consistency or peaks? How do
Yeah.
you how much do you care about like how many times somebody won a tournament despite how big the tournament is?
Right.
Like how do you value placement? In general, like how do
Yeah.
you value matchups? Like, oh, this guy lost, has a super losing record against this person that's worse than him, but it's like a terrible matchup.
Are you talking about me? Oh, you're getting
My
called.
doorbell's going
Is
off.
it your doorbell?
Okay,
well,
wait, hold on,
hold
whoa,
on,
whoa,
breaks,
whoa,
breaks.
whoa. Sorry about that. Was a sorry?
You can catch your break.
No, I'm fine.
First. Okay.
It was a Christmas present for my brother.
Okay.
I forgot that he sent
He
them.
exists.
So I wasn't
Oh.
expecting it. But
Oh,
I forgot
you got it from your brother.
yeah, he sent it.
Oh.
Well,
Nice.
like he ordered it and then got it sent here, but
Right, yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
it's a late Christmas present.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's The Walking Dead, the 4th omnibus.
Oh, sick. Wait, is that the comics?
Yeah, it's
Or-
the comics, but they're like a collection of chapters in each like big book. I
Oh,
think there's like
right.
7 of them total.
Holy shit, that's crazy. Did you read all that?
No, not yet.
Didn't read all that.
I read through some of the first one, but I haven't gotten all the way through it
Okay,
yet.
fair enough. Yeah, Britt and I are big fans of The Walking Dead, the series, even though it's not that great. It's not that great.
There's a new thingy coming out, right?
There's
a new
always a
show.
new thingy coming out
Yeah, like
for
a
the
new
Walking Dead
spin-off.
universe. Yeah,
I don't want to
massive.
spoil anything, but someone's back,
Holy shit,
I think.
that's crazy.
I don't know if they were ever gone to begin with, but
Yeah.
from the trailer, it seemed like it's
Someone's
supposed to be
back,
like,
baby. I think
Whoa.
it's. Oh yeah, it's Rick. It's Rick.
whoa, dude. Yeah, it is Rick.
Yeah, I know about that.
Okay, yeah, but other people
Oh,
maybe don't.
Spoilers. You can just bleep it out.
No, I think it doesn't matter because it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
If you watch the trailer,
If you
for
watch
the
the
new show,
if you watch the
he's
show,
there.
you know.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Where were we? What were
We
we
were
talking
talking about like how to rank people who are like higher on the PR maybe,
Yeah.
but they got like a bad record against someone ranked below them.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like you look at matchup stuff if you
Yeah.
want. Like personally, I'm not a big fan of like considering matchups.
No, you
In
shouldn't.
that because like
You never
you
should.
know, it
honestly.
sucks. But in the end, it usually doesn't even come down to that, so it doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah.
it's never the linchpin decision where
No.
you're like, oh, this guy has a losing record against ice climbers and he's a Pikachu player, for example.
I can't relate.
Yeah, it's a very vague example.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody relates to that one.
Actually, I
but,
beat Diamond, so do I have yeah, I still do have a losing record against Ices. I also lost to Nikki.
yeah, but it's
I'm
more
gonna
about
have to
like
admit that.
against a specific person. So like
Yeah.
in this example, let's say you and Noxa are neck and neck on
Yeah.
PR. Right next to each other, and you could make an argument that like Noxa has a winning record on you, so they
Yeah.
deserve to be placed above. But then you could say, oh, but the matchup was
Yeah,
bad.
I don't think that's an argument. Then
Yeah,
I should just play a different character, which I did.
It didn't. It wasn't a factor in
No.
that in the end because
Yeah.
your prof win. It's just
Impeccable.
it's like way too good.
The best of the best.
It made it so hard to rank
Yeah.
you.
Did you
because
know? Did you know? Prof has only 3 non-top 100 losses in 2023.
Wow, that's more than I would expect.
That's actually a really low number,
For prof, I mean, that's the thing. I think I'm just
and it's
too,
like max, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way because I was just thinking like 3 is it's a lot for like a
No,
top
no.
100 player, especially because he only went to the US like twice.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure. I think
it's-
but he went for a long period. He went to a lot of tournaments.
True. Yeah, he was there for a stretch, and then he went for Santa Paws
Oh,
after
right. Yeah,
Arcamelee.
when he was retired.
Okay, he had his last UK tournament, then his last European tournament, then his last US tournament, and allegedly he's done now. But he did say
He's probably gonna
come to
still,
Fete if,
and he's probably still gonna go to the big ones when he's in. I mean, you got like the Black Empowerment tournaments, and he's probably gonna get invited again, and then he's
Probably,
probably gonna go because
why not?
why if you're gonna get invited to fly across the sea,
Yeah, you take that chance
Yeah.
any day of the week
for sure.
But it's he also said he'd be interested in coming to like Fate and stuff if it happens again. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we'll see.
I'd love to see him again though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, NLPR. I hope everybody's satisfied with the results. I hope there's not too much controversy around it.
I don't think so.
I know some people felt like I don't know, like Skyro or Virtual Tiger got snubbed, but I think
I'm
the
not
problem
sure.
is that like the bottom part of the PR, let's say the last like 5 players,
Yeah.
so difficult to place everybody like where
Yeah.
they are individually, and they can all really like they can beat each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's also like at the lower end of the PR. That's also true for the top 100. It's so hard to rank because it's just more inconsistent. Whereas, like if you look at the top 5, Skullbro is probably not gonna lose to, I'm just gonna say something. NVC for example, like someone outside of the top 10 is probably not gonna happen.
yeah. Thanks for that, by the way. I'm number
You're-
11.
oh,
so
right.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Well,
saying
there you
that.
go.
Thanks for saying top
It's
10.
probably not gonna happen.
Can you not just say
top 11? Top
Yeah,
11. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you can beat Skullbro.
Yeah, probably.
Just clutch it out, like you
Once in
never
my
do.
Life once, please.
Clutch it
God.
out once.
I took him last stock game 5 at DSEA last year.
That's the problem. You got to take him out after 4 games.
I know. I'm trying my best.
You don't want to let him clutch. He's like the hungry box of the Dutch melee scene.
Yeah.
He screams so loud.
He's like the skull bro of offline melee.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
And then besides the NLPR, we also just released the North Holland PR, which is like the region of the Netherlands that I'm in and my tournaments are in. Just to motivate the scene to sort of like get better and to show everybody where we're at. Because I know a lot of people, like I'll talk about bunker attendees to somebody at another tournament or something, and they have no idea who it is, never heard the name. Because these attendees don't go out to other events and make themselves known. So
I mean, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like you have these great weeklies now where, like, you know, Bunker kind of kickstarted it, and now Juke is hosting Boulevard with Vilmar, which is great. But then maybe the Amsterdam people or like the North Holland people get a little bit complacent about going, you know, further than Amsterdam.
Yeah. I think it's also just drive to compete. Like we've had people who have been around for a while who just don't really see the motivation to go travel for those weekend events. It's mostly like a chill side thing they do on the weekdays to sort of like blow off steam.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. It's it's a very different experience than going to a tournament and, you know, really competing instead of, you know, a bracket for fun on a Tuesday night. Who thinks about why Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Come on, I can never come.
Who knows, man? Who knows why Tuesday night? No, but then again, we also have people who do go out and attend and everything. And I try my best to like motivate and also like advertise these things to the players. But it's difficult. It's difficult to like convince people to spend money and travel like long distances.
For sure.
Because in the Netherlands, there's no such thing as like a long distance tournament.
Honestly, no.
You can always make it home before the trains are not running anymore, unless you're like the bracket's running late and you're going to win the whole thing from like a game 10 grands reset, then maybe you're shit out of luck. But most people can get home in time.
Yeah, for sure.
NS permitting, of course.
Yeah.
As long as the NS
depends on the NS,
cooperates.
It's also pretty expensive. That's pretty shitty for me, at least. Like I don't really like paying $40 to play Melee for 2 hours and then have to go back. It's like
that's sort of what I meant with like the cost in general. Like most people think, oh, people aren't willing to shill out like $15-20 for venue fee. It's like too much.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's
why?
tax.
What's the problem? Because there's extra costs involved in going to a tournament. Like, you can bring your own food, but you probably are going to eat out, so that's expensive. Sure. You got to take the train if you don't have a car, and if you have a car, you have to pay for gas, and like, it's a lot of extra stuff on top of that. So I can see why people do have issues with higher venue fees. I personally don't.
No, me neither.
I'm
but
fine
it's also we're pretty well off, right?
Yeah,
we got a job, we're working. I'm hardly working, of course. Do as little as possible, but you know, still raking in the cash. But,
exactly.
So it's easier for us. But if you're like studying still, I mean, at least you have free public transport, but then you still have to pay the venue fee. You probably have less income. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a tangent. Like this is not even, it's more just to say that like I understand why some people don't make the trek out sometimes or aren't really feeling weekend tournaments in general. But we also, I think, have a lot of stuff planned this year, like tournaments coming up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Across the country. So
we
should have a lot of opportunities to show everybody how strong North Holland is.
Let's go.
You know, hopefully we get some good wins on the board. I'm banking for like Zeelandsen and
dude, I think Zeelandsen is gonna get up there. I think
Zeelandsen kicked my ass 6 ways to Sunday, man.
And it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. I was up 2-0 and I went Fox and then I lost and then I went back to Falco and they reversed 3-0'd me.
That's crazy.
And that's the thing when we were doing the North Holland PR, I think Karhu was like, oh man, you know, but this Zeelandsen Restless Whale win, that's like cold, spacey, you know, like cold hands on a weekday. And I was like, when my hands were cold, I was winning.
Right, yeah.
Once we both warmed up, I was getting sauced, like 2 stocks.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, no complaints. No excuses, I should say.
Yeah.
Like, he kicked my ass. So, hopefully he does well against, like, the rest of the field, the rest of the country. And then people like Shanky, like Red, Vilmar, love to see those guys.
I think they're already showing up, all of them. At big tournaments as well.
At Vechpartij especially, I think they do pretty well.
True.
But I'd like to see them make some breakout performances so people are a bit more aware of like how good we are baseline, where our mid level is, let's say.
I think our mid level is pretty good already. And then our like mid to high level is insane. Like we have so many players around that echelon, which I mean, it's pretty uncommon, I would say, to have like such a mixed bag between this big group of players.
We're very lucky to have like the skill level that we have, because you have regions where you're dominated by one really good player and everybody else is sort of getting trashed by them, and they're all sort of like at the same level.
Yeah.
And then you have us, where it's like we have our top 5, top 6 pretty good players. Then everybody below them up to like, I guess you would say 10, but I would say anywhere beyond that, like has a decent chance at beating them. Not an amazing chance as you get lower, obviously, but like it's still there.
Yeah, for sure.
And that makes it really interesting to watch pretty much any set. You're walking around a Dutch tournament, like you can stop and just watch any given winner's bracket set and be, decently entertained. Surprised, even perhaps.
Yeah,
like a DSEA walking around watching you destroy everybody for some reason. Just like,
I don't know what happened. I mean, I do know what happened. It didn't even feel like I was playing tournament. I think that's like the thing. So yeah, I didn't feel like I was playing tournament at all. I was just having fun, just playing my game, trying not to SD too much. And when I didn't SD too much, I just kept winning. And then I had to play Max, and then Max kind of clapped me. But that's all right. It took a game, so that's good.
No, it was really solid. I mean, it was like, I knew you're capable of beating these people. It's just a question of like, can you beat them all in a row? And can you do it without like you said, crumbling, like starting SD, things like that. But I guess if that's what helps, playing tournament or without thinking about playing tournament, like thinking that it's just like a relaxing game of play.
I was actually talking about this with Skullbro as well. Because I found like a new trick to stay composed in between games. Because back in the day, I'm saying back in the day, but like this is pretty recent still. Like I could get pretty tilted when people took their time to decide on the next stage, and I'd have to wait, and it would like make me cold and would make me like overthink things and whatever. And I started doing this at Fete, and that's why I beat Prof as well. Between games, I'm just like sitting there, like forget everything you ever know. Just don't think about anything at all. Just wait until the game starts, and then just go back on. And then and I just kept doing that. And you can see in the player cam as well, if you watch my run, every time between games, I'm just sitting there like it's fucking weird. It's really weird, but it helped me. So
Yeah. I mean, whatever floats your boat, man. I think that's part of the interesting thing about Melee is that like you kind of need to do some self-discovery of like what works for you.
Yeah.
No meta advice is going to work for everybody, Like,
no,
it could apply to other people, case by case. But in general, you kind of need to figure these things out for yourself. Some people need to sit there and think,
for sure,
and like stew over what just happened and craft a new flowchart in their head or whatever. And some people just need to sit there like they got hit in the back of the head with a shovel and like just think about nothing for a second.
That's what I do.
Check if they're concussed.
I gotta lower my IQ down to 20. Like almost forget how to breathe.
Start hibernating.
Yeah, exactly. Just for a minute though.
They have to wake you up before they're like, you ready? You ready to go?
Huh? What? Why'd you wake me up?
I'm not ready. I need another 30 minutes. This nap is not ready to go.
Yeah, but that was crazy to run. Yeah, it was
good
nice.
To hear. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, he got second out of everybody there.
Yeah, I think it was 80 players in
highest
singles.
placing Dutch player at the tournament.
Yeah, and I got I think I beat 6 people ranked above me back to back.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
Messed up. But it was Nunes Luigi, so it doesn't really count.
True.
There we go.
The whole run is invalid. It's a fluke. It's a fluke.
No, Nunes Luigi is crazy, man. It's actually really good now. It's kind of scary.
Dude, against Noon, I the first game. I lost the first game, and I just couldn't get anything going. And then I don't know. I remembered the Jar Raiden versus Swift. No, not Swift versus Ralph set. Ralph won last stock, last hit. Super, super close set. But Ralph, he was only going for back throw and then just trying to gimp as hard as possible. And I never did that against Luigi. I was always just trying to play it fair or whatever. But I realized I should not play it fair against that stupid character. Just throw him off. When he starts charging his side B, you can kill him. Just do it. Whatever. I just keep going out and it will kill him. And then I just kept doing that. And then it became I mean, I'm not going to say easy because Noon is really good, but it felt like, okay, now this is a winning matchup instead of having to fight against a character with crazy frame data,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also how I felt at one of the boulevards. For those of you who don't know, I'm on a 6, 7. six win streak right now.
Let's
at
go.
Boulevard.
Keep it
That's
going.
6 first place. And then the one that I didn't, I wasn't there. I was in
Right.
Portugal. But and I'm gonna miss the next one, fortunately.
Oh, you're gonna be at Valhalla, going to Valhalla, yeah.
So that sucks. But yeah, I played Noon in I think winners finals.
Right.
And he went Luigi game 1, and I was thinking like, trying to gas myself up a bit, like whatever, man, Luigi. It's your secondary, like
Right.
cool.
Is
Even
it?
though it's not really.
No.
But my thought process is like his Mario is his best character. At least
Yeah.
at the moment, I was like, yeah, his Mario is his best character. That's the character I'm scared of. Let's say.
Yeah.
I'm not like terrified, but I do know what he's capable of.
Right,
And
yeah.
it is a threat. But his
Capable?
Luigi took
I
game
get
1.
it.
Just kicked my ass, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then
Yeah.
he went Mario, and then I didn't lose a game.
What
in
the
winners
hell?
final, and I was
Why
like,
did you
oh,
switch?
I don't know.
Dang.
That's and then later,
Noon is an enigma, so we'll never know.
yeah. But then later in Grands, he went Mario first, and then went Luigi like later, and didn't win that game. So it was
Okay.
like it was a matter a bit of like adapting,
Yeah.
but also like it was sort of out of left field for me to
Yeah.
like it humbled me a little bit.
Yeah.
In like, oh, okay, actually his
Dude,
Luigi's really good.
yeah, you
and
gotta
I
take-
cannot just like sit here and pretend that
Yeah.
it's some secondary shitter. It's like
No,
genuinely
but
a good
Noon has
character.
crazy secondaries. Like his Sheik is amazing. His
Yep.
Falco is really good
His
as
Marth
well.
is actually really good.
Oh, I never
His
played
Marth
this
won
Marth.
bunker once over
No
me. And
way.
I was playing Falco.
That's crazy.
The only games I took against his Marth were with Sheik.
That's crazy.
I went Sheik. Grands was weird. I think I
Oh,
went like
what?
Falco first, lost the first game, went Sheik, won the set 3-1. And then that reset the bracket. And then the first game was Sheik Marth, and he won. And then
Okay.
I was like, fuck,
Uh-oh.
like I can't win with Sheik anymore. He's figured it out.
figured
so
it
I
out.
went Fox.
One trick pony.
I think I took one game, and then he
Okay.
won the bracket.
What?
And then afterwards, he was like, why didn't you play Sheik? And I was like, you beat my Sheik. I thought it was done. He was like, dude, if you played Sheik, I think you would have won. I was like, oh, well,
No, fair enough.
cool, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
Fair enough, dude. But yeah, it was,
But speaking of bunker,
yeah. We
the documentary.
It's really cool. It's something that Binky, one of our regular attendees,
Shout outs to Binky.
shout outs to Binky. He whipped it up for us. He started recording. He brought in a camera at one point and was just sort of talking to us about like, hey, I want to do this like documentary thing. And I thought that was really cool. I was a bit like apprehensive, I guess is the word, because I think we've all been there where you have like this big project in your head and you think you can get it done and you start working on it and you realize just how much work it is.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of like realize it's not really feasible, or you don't have the skill yet to do it.
Yeah.
Or you kind of half-ass it, but it was really good.
Yeah, it was
like,
really nice.
He went completely through with it. He was talking to me about the struggles of it. He's talking about like, oh, I really thought that, I could make it a lot longer, 20 minutes or so, but it really drags on at a certain point. And I think that was one of the things I was
Good
most
call.
impressed with, because he has the forethought to be like, no, this is not interesting anymore. Like, you need to sacrifice maybe some content for
sure.
Watchability,
Yeah, definitely.
And so he interviewed a bunch of people. I think in the end, in the actual doc, we see Vilmar, Ceylonson, Bug, Gillis, Happy Meals, and me.
Yeah.
I think those are the interviews that ended up making it in.
And then LSK.
And LSK at the end as well. Yeah, that was really nice. Made me tear up a little bit. Made me cry a little bit.
Go watch it.
Shout out to LSK.
Go watch it right now. It's in the description.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit earlier as well, but that last part hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
That last LSK part. So yeah, go watch it now before we talk about it if you haven't seen it yet, because we are going to spoil, I guess, some of the stuff that happens. But when LSK came to Bunker for the first time, we were very, at least I was very, my game plan was to make sure he felt welcome, because I knew that he was, like he says in the documentary, he literally arrived the day of Bunker, so it was his first day in Amsterdam.
It was also one of the first bunkers, right?
It was one of the very early ones, yeah. So we were also still trying to figure out what exactly we were and like how it works and everything. Because we didn't know shit. We were just running a tournament. Like we've been running it for a year now. We know a little bit more now, but starting out it was very scary and very stressful.
Yeah,
we can
of
talk
course.
about that a little bit later as well. But yeah, he came in, and my first objective was like, I want to make sure he feels welcome. I want to make sure that he feels like he's always cool to hit any of us up, or like those of us that are, talking to him for help in Amsterdam as a new person, just in general with life, not Smash related, because, it can be intimidating. I can relate to the idea of moving, especially moving to Amsterdam specifically.
Yeah.
And being there as like a foreign person, right? So I could relate to the fact that like it's very necessary to have these lifelines.
Yeah.
Especially for like such a short stay, if you want to get to a comfortable point in like a fast amount in like a small amount of time. So I was super thankful that all the bunker attendees sort of showed up in that regard too. Everybody was super welcoming for him and super nice. He made friends almost immediately, and we're just hanging out with them like on the regular, which was super cool to see. And that's kind of why the last part of the documentary hit me so hard, is because, you know, he talks about how we were so friendly and open and like made him feel welcome almost immediately. And that's exactly what I was going for. But you don't really, like, you don't do it for the feedback of it. You don't do it to receive praise or to feel like you're above anybody else. But then when you do receive the praise for it, you feel like, wow, I actually accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And like here's proof of that. You know? So it sort of made me happy.
It's really meaningful.
Sort of like emotional, because again, we're new to this. We're not necessarily good at it. We just sort of run the tournament and hope that we can,
goes well,
you know, make a nice enough space for people to feel that way. And so to see that it does actually play out like that was really nice. And I think that that's what is keeping me motivated for the time being to run these events and make them as the best that I can, provide content when we can. North Holland PR, mainly, like, it kind of seems kind of selfish, but it's mainly motivated by the fact that like I really wanted to give something at a bunker, like give a piece of content and just be like, here, this is gonna happen at this event, and you can come and hang out, and we're gonna drink together, and we're gonna see this, and then we'll play a little tournament and have fun. And that sort of like keeps me motivated to keep doing it. Because I mean, we started it on a whim. We always wanted to use the bunker for Smash tournaments. We finally got the chance. And the first bunker tournament I ran, I was stressed out of my mind.
Of course.
I was running around. I was panicking. Like, I felt like everything was going to fall apart. We had one of the biggest bunkers we've ever had was our first one.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like 27, 26 people.
Yeah, of course. The first one was also a big one.
It was huge. Yeah. And like, we barely knew if we could get what we needed in time.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you scrambling for all the setup you need, all the cables, all the SCART, things.
Yeah. But in that stress, like coming out of it after the first bunker was like this intense relief.
Yeah.
And like satisfaction.
Like, you did
it.
Yeah. Everybody was happy about it.
Yeah. And since then we've just sort of like had our own style. Like I do hands-on TOing, but I'm also playing. So the attendees understand that like they can fill in the score if they have to, or they can wait and I will chase them down later. It's just doesn't have to be immediate. And then everybody sort of helps each other out.
For sure.
Like if there's a new player, people are receptive and they want to include them and play with them and make sure they know what's going on. So I'm really proud of everybody that attends, and I'm really proud of the TO team for doing all that we do. Destiny, Zerp, Bobzo, me. I'm not proud of myself, but I'm proud of them. That's the TO team. Yeah. So huge shout outs to them, and I hope we can keep doing it. Because
I hope so too.
I think it
hope
helps.
You don't burn out, because it's a lot.
No, I think I really can't burn out from bunker because
you got so many people who are also chipping in.
Yeah, the laid back atmosphere sort of means that if I am feeling overwhelmed, I can take a step back. And we have a big TO team, so we can say like, can one of you guys manage it? A big TO team for a local, like 4 people, is a lot.
Yeah.
And then besides that, I'm almost always looking forward to it because it's like a
stress relief as well. Yeah. On a weekday, get off work, go to bunker.
It's more like a social event
beer.
Than like a melee tournament for me. Even though I'm running the melee tournament, for me, it's like I'm just there to chat and hang out.
Yeah.
And I play 0 friendlies. I only play my tournament sets.
I'm
just there running stuff. And for me, it's like a nice release. It's like, this is my passion, I guess.
Yeah. I wish I could come over more, because I only went once. Made it into the documentary, baby.
Yeah, you did. I laughed so hard when that part of the documentary was like, feels so good to stomp through a bracket. And it's just me beating you. I was like, that was not a stomp. Like, I had to try really hard.
No, it was funny. I didn't take it personal. Don't worry.
You reset the bracket, right?
I lost the first set in winners. Like, you 3-0'd me. I played really bad. You played well. And then you still played well in Grands. And I reset the bracket 3-2. And then you won the bracket 3-1, I think, something like that.
Yeah, so it was not a sweep,
it's really close.
But he played it out like I just like demolished. I was like, did not happen. It was a good narrative. I mean, he did a good job with the footage he had.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was funny because just seeing myself on the documentary, even though I've only been one time, it was like, oh, I guess I'm part of this now.
Once out of 30 editions, we should mention. There's been 30 of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what did you think about the documentary as like a
an outsider.
Well, what do you think about Bunker Smash, and what do you think about the documentary?
Dude, I
Like, how do
love
you-
Bunker Smash. I mean, I've only been once, and I told you, like, I really want to come more often, but it's just too far away for me. If I am, like, just off of work, I have to travel at least 2 hours, then play, and then go back 2 hours again. It's just too much on a
Yeah.
weekday for me, because I work on Tuesday and on Wednesday, so, yeah, no shot.
Fair enough.
Like,
I
the
mean,
one
yeah.
time I could come was because it was on Monday, and I had, like, a day off. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a bit of an awkward period where we had Monday Bunker Smash
Yeah.
because of scheduling stuff, but
Yeah.
we're back to Tuesdays. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I mean,
It was great. It was really nice. And the documentary, it was really heartfelt. But one thing about the documentary was maybe it's just more like a melee scene in general, but there were no women in a documentary.
yeah,
And I think it's more of a, there is just not a lot of women in the Smash scene. And I think that's just unfortunate. But nothing like Binky could do about.
yeah. No, that's the thing. Like, it is an accurate representation of Bunker Smash
Yeah.
because, yeah, like you said, there are not that many women involved in the scene here.
Yeah.
And I feel like in general, it's very hard to find the scene here because we are
Yeah.
a bit like, I don't want to say secluded, but like we have our WhatsApp group and there's the Dutch Melee Discord. So like, it's
pretty hard to get
the
in.
Discord, we can get you in the WhatsApp group. But besides that, it's like word of mouth, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, it's on a weekday, so a lot of people can't just like show up out of the blue. If
Yeah.
it's like a weekend, it's a bit easier because people are like roaming around the park and
Yeah.
they would walk in and see it because it's in the Vonel Park,
Yeah.
big park in Amsterdam. But yeah, we do have some female attendees, but yeah, not that often. So that's something we do like think about. It's
Yeah.
just not something we
It's
can really
it's
do
hard
much
because
about.
it's like I think the melee scene has become a lot more friendly to women, which is great, and I'm really all for it. But it's not fast enough.
Yeah.
We need more women. But it's like it's all right. At least we've got more than in the past. So
Yeah. No, I mean, we're trying our best to expand the scene just in general, like
Yeah.
get more people involved. So
yeah,
that's
and
like
I think
a natural
you're doing such a good
byproduct,
job with that.
hopefully.
Like you and Boulevard as well, like Bunker and Boulevard. But yeah,
Yeah, you just gotta rope as many people into it, get them addicted as fast as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're good. Then you're golden.
what do you put in the beer?
Hope.
Hope. Okay.
Love.
Aw.
Yeah, it's been very rewarding. I feel like TOing is one of those things that, like commentary, I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it until I started doing
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Like commentary, I did have that sort of like build up into it. Like,
Yeah.
I do think this is kind of cool and I'm going to do smaller stuff. And I did it like back in Germany, even I was commentating some
Yeah.
stuff. But TOing is always in the back of my head, like, can I even do this? Like, do I have the knowledge to do this?
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. You just
Then
went for it.
just happened. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool though.
thankful for the chance.
Gives you so much perspective as well.
So if you are in Amsterdam, if you're an international viewer, if you're in Amsterdam during the week, check out the Dutch Melee Discord for information about the weeklies. We got one every week, alternating Thursday and Tuesday. So
Yeah.
you'll almost always find Melee here if you're on vacation.
For sure. For
We've
sure.
had tons of internationals come to Bunker. We had Dank, had Big Max,
Yeah.
had some American players. Regex, I think, was there.
Oh right. Yeah.
Yeah, LSK, obviously Canadian, but he was there for a longer time.
half a
Shout outs
year.
to Drag, the American Ness main, who is crazy.
Okay.
Like, really cool.
That's sick.
Yeah, just a shout out to everybody
Cool.
who makes it out there.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're also gonna make it out there.
What?
We're gonna go to Valhalla soon.
Oh, we're going to
next
Valhalla
week.
next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, Valhalla was like our first tournament. We went like abroad to do commentary, and it was like, okay, we went there. We put in the volunteer form, and we did our 9 a.m. pools block, and that was it. There was a little bit of like miscommunication, but at the end of the day, we did our block, and that was it. But now we're like, we can do. Oh yeah, we can tell that, right? I think. Can we tell that? I don't know.
Maybe, I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
Like, I
then.
don't think the schedule is public, but
No.
I don't think it matters too much. I think we should just
It's like-
err on the side of caution and just say, like, we have some good blocks.
Yeah, we have some good blocks, and it's just such a different experience now from coming from like voluntary work to now where we're being asked for this kind of stuff and being able to go to all these events. Because to be honest, I mean, I would love to go to Valhalla even if we weren't getting compensated for it. But it's like now that we are getting compensated for a lot of international tournaments, it's like there's almost no reason not to go, right? Like I would have to think of something not to go.
Yeah. I mean, listen, especially like for me, this is kind of stupid.
Okay.
The monetary investment is is a lot to think about when going to a tournament like
Yeah.
this. You know, like it's a lot to put in. But for me, the biggest stressor is actually planning the trip.
Right.
Like, I'm willing to make do with spending money on a flight or whatever train.
yeah.
But sitting down and like planning the logistics of my trip,
Yeah.
it's
not great.
I hate it so much. And so like
Yeah.
when they just booked me a flight, sent me the info, I was like,
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
That's great. yeah.
amazing. Zero
Yeah.
thinking on my end.
Yeah, that's actually funny because I'm also like, I don't really hate doing the logistics part of it, but I kind of learned to do it because, like, I mean, let's be honest. In our friend group, people are not very like, how do you say it?
Proactive?
Proactive. So usually when it comes down to, oh, let's do something, I'm usually the one who, does the paperwork basically. So I kind of learned to do that because if I don't do it, then it'll not happen, or other people get stressed because it's like not well organized or whatever, and I don't like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do it, and then I'll learn how to do it, and it's all good. You can just trust me, and that's good.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you know what? Sometimes I would like it if you guys, I mean, not you per se, but like, it's
If they stepped up.
if they stepped up, yeah. Come on, Matti. Come on.
Matti.
Fries,
Jesus Christ.
idiots.
Shout outs to Matti.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been mostly like learning how to do it from all of these events.
Yeah.
And in general, like I'm not really an expat, but I kind of am. Like I'm not
Yeah.
from here, and my parents aren't from here, so I have to travel a lot to see them to begin with. And like,
Yeah.
that involves planning too. So that's been like a learned skill of mine.
For sure.
As much as I hate it, it's kind
also
of a necessity.
experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you know the drill, right? You know how it all works at
Yeah.
an airport or whatever.
Dude, I've seen
Yeah.
Schiphol way too many times.
Yeah.
Now. Like I've seen
Yeah.
the inside of Schiphol.
Yeah, it was
Oh
funny
my
because
God.
Lars went to Scotland not so long ago, and he's been in planes like a bunch before, but he asked me like the day before, like, dude, I don't know if I did it all right, because normally you would always do this shit, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Where do I have to go at the airport? I don't know. I always just follow you around with my passport, and it all just kind of works out.
So he's like FaceTiming you.
Yeah.
Like which way do I go?
Now almost, yeah.
It's like a visual novel or like one of those point
I
and
could
click
make the
adventures.
choices. Okay, yeah. Go to the McDonald's on the right.
Kiss the clerk on the lips.
Romance.
Ask for McChicken, but lick your lips in between the words Mick and chicken.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm thankful to have those opportunities to,
For sure.
to travel like to
Yeah.
Valhalla, and looking forward to it. Like you said, I was our first out of country commentary thing, so it's a bit like I don't know if I would say sentimental, but it holds a
Kinda
special
feels-
place in my
yeah,
heart.
for me
Like,
too. It feels like, getting back to the start, but then a lot further away from the start. You
Yeah.
get what I mean?
like going back to your old stomping grounds after you make the Fortune 500. You're like
Yeah.
Forbes under 30.
It's
know?
like snakes and ladders.
You show up to the YMCA after you become a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I'm glad I don't have to come here anymore. I got my own gym in my 3 mansions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also looking forward to Copenhagen again. It was very
Yeah.
cool last time.
It was very cold last time.
It was very cool.
So I hope it's not that cold anymore.
It was
but
raining a lot.
We'll see.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be cold. I just
Yeah.
hope it doesn't rain so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going to drive there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. It's
No,
not that long
okay.
of a drive.
It's
right? like-
honestly, like logistics wise, it's easier than Schiphol, and like time wise, it's the same or shorter.
how long is the drive?
It's 8.5 hours, and there's like a ferry.
Okay, yeah, dude. Time wise, it's the same. My flight is like a few hours, and I
Yeah,
live
but
right
you
next-
live next to Schiphol.
Yeah, I live in Schiphol actually, in the janitor closet.
Oh my god.
It's great.
No, but that's like a big deal because
Yeah.
we'd have to either go by train to Schiphol, which costs a lot of money, and then also, or we could go with the car, but then we'd have to park it somewhere and then go to Schiphol as well. It's like,
Yeah,
it's annoying.
No, it's definitely a pain in the ass. I'm blessed to be so close, but that's also why I prefer flying
Yeah,
now
of
because
course.
it's so close.
Yeah.
Like it's almost no hassle for me to
no-brainer.
get there. Yeah, and I don't have to go so early, and it's like
Yeah,
so
I
much
mean, for
nicer.
for us, it wouldn't have made a difference. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I guess we can drive. At least we don't have to like we have like creative freedom as well. We can like go for a little detour if we want to in Germany. Get like a 4-hour drive extra.
do donuts in the Edeka parking lot. You know, a little,
Oh, let's fucking go.
go to Hornbach.
Yeah,
No,
we
but,
can maybe ask Flerk if he wants to join and bring his 30 Wii's.
Oh yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like only little addendum to the plan. No,
Yeah.
stress, no 300
No.
euro ticket or whatever. Just
Just 30
throw 'em in
Wii's.
there. Just chuck them in the trunk.
Yeah.
Him, not the.
Oh,
not the
no,
Wii's.
the Wii's go in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valuable, very valuable. Wii's.
Yeah.
But I had something I was gonna say, but I can't remember now. What a shame.
What a shame.
Oh yeah, it was about Festa. So
Oh.
going to Festa, everybody had like a super early flight.
Yeah. Because there was not a lot of great
No.
options.
And I got to the airport and everybody was already there. Everybody that was
Yeah.
supposed to be on our flight was already there. And I had woken up maybe like 30 minutes before I saw everybody. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Again, I'm really close to the airport.
I took an all-nighter.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Everybody was so energetic. And I was like,
You just woke up.
the last thing I wanted to do was interact with like 15 people. So
Oh,
I just
right.
sat down with
Yeah.
y'all and was just like dying. And
Yeah.
I just couldn't help but think like, wow, I am weak. Like all
Yeah.
these people woke up way earlier than me, came all the way out here to fly.
Yeah.
I got to sleep in a little bit, tiny bit. It was
Yeah.
like a 9 a.m. flight. No,
Yeah,
it
you
was-
could sleep to like. I mean,
it
at
was
least
earlier than
it was
that, right?
early.
It was
no,
like-
it was 9 a.m. But we had no, it was 8
It was 8, yeah.
or was it 6, 7? I don't even know.
It was like 7 or 8 or something.
7
so
or
I
8.
was there. It was probably like 6:30 that I was there, or that I had to
right.
get up.
That's
or something.
pretty early.
Still pretty early, but everybody else had to get up earlier than that.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Yeah.
I felt bad that I was in such a bad state around everybody else who was.
I literally
arguably-
took an all-nighter. I just didn't sleep. I was like, you know what? If we're gonna have to leave at 2 a.m., I might as well just stay up.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right.
I'm gonna play Team Fortress 2 until we leave, and that's what I did.
Did Brit also pull an all-nighter?
No, she went to bed for like 2 hours or something.
I feel like that's worse.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I feel like you wake up like not enough sleep, and
Yeah.
all you want to do is get back to sleep.
Yeah. That's why I like just pulled an all-nighter anyway. But it was
Yeah.
fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I pulled an all-nighter, I was trying to like reset my sleep schedule, and
Yeah.
I ended up just falling asleep at 2 p.m. the next day.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't really work.
No, it kind of shot yourself
Instantly
in the foot there.
Made it way worse.
Yeah, that's not great.
But yeah, I mean, can't really can't complain about my position to the airport for that reason. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I would also probably just fly everywhere if I was so close to Schiphol. But you know,
Yeah.
it's all right. We also drove to Arcamelee. It was fine.
True.
9 hours.
9 hours is a really long drive. But you swapped off, right?
Yeah, because Brit has her driver's license now.
Finally.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I still,
we-
I still can't sleep or like chill out. I need to watch.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad. She cannot. No, I'm not. I'm joking.
I would. Yeah. I am stressed when I'm with like a new driver.
Yeah, I mean,
It
like
is. It's always going to be stressful. Like you have to put your full trust in this
Yeah.
person, and that's hard to do when you haven't been shown that they're capable.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with how much you like the person.
Yeah.
It just has to do with the fact that like they are now controlling this 5-ton steel cage that
Yeah.
you're trapped in.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's like the first 2 weeks or something, I was like a little bit on edge while she was driving, and I was like paying attention constantly, which isn't really nice. But at the same time, like now it's all fine. And she
Yeah.
even drove like in foreign countries, and it was all good. She even drove in foreign cities. Like, you know,
Yeah.
what more is there to prove?
I
So,
think as long as you're not backseat driving, and
Yeah.
as long as you are like accepting the fact that they had to obviously prove they can drive to get a driver's
they
license.
have the
in the first
driver's
place.
license so they can
So-
drive.
Exactly. So as long as you're not like being intrusive to them and backseating them, then
Yeah.
you can be as worried as you want to be.
Yeah.
For as long as you need to be, but
Yeah,
I think it's a valuable skill to have to learn to trust someone's driving.
for sure. Yeah.
Because some people
Yeah.
never get over that. They're always sort of like nervous about being in the car with someone else driving.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is fair enough as well. Like I said, very valid fear.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
essentially
it is a valid fear.
taking your
Yeah.
hands off the wheel
Yeah.
and letting somebody else, have control of
Jesus.
your life. Jesus
Jesus will
perhaps.
take it.
He will. There's a song about this. It must be true.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're both biased because we've been driving for a while.
Yeah,
So-
I got like a letter in the mail last week or like a couple days ago, which said, "Hey, your driver's license is about to expire. You got to get a new one." As in, just
Yeah.
get a new card. But it was like, oh damn, I've almost had this card for 10 years already.
I'm nervous for when that happens because it's like you're living your life, you're fine, you're like, oh yeah, everything's
Yeah.
great. I'm just a young chap.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like It's been 10 years, man.
It's been 10 fucking years. Get a new one.
Face the music, pal.
Yeah, my OV chip card is also gonna be expiring like in half a year or something.
Oh, but those expire so fast. Mine expired, like I had an expired one, and I've only had one for like a handful of years. I think they expire every like 5 years.
It's my third one now, I think.
Damn.
Yeah.
But you're Dutch, so you probably had one when you were like a toddler or something.
I was they gave you one when you were born. They immediately take like a Polaroid picture of it and then they give you the card. It's like, okay, you can go on your own now.
You know the Ash baby picture?
Ash baby?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, then that's a joke. We'll go straight over your head. That one goes back in the vault.
Okay,
it's not coming
good.
out.
Yeah.
Look it up when you get home. It's funny. It's a funny
Okay.
picture.
I'm gonna forget about it.
Probably.
Yeah.
But speaking of Valhalla as well, I've already been asked once. I think it was yesterday I got asked
Okay.
if I'm doing a whale hunt at Valhalla.
Ooh.
And the answer is no.
No.
Unfortunately not. First of all, we never even really talked about it.
Nope.
So like there was no planning that went into it. It could have been maybe viable because of the Friday. Basically nothing's going on
yeah,
Friday.
we could have done Friday.
And then like we don't have that many blocks. So
Yeah.
we still have to compete and stuff. So it is still a bit hectic.
yeah.
But second of all is that like it takes a lot of effort and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like doing that every single tournament.
No.
You know? Like the big ones are really nice. The ones where you can guarantee some crazy interviews
Yeah.
or like once in a lifetime chance to talk
Yeah.
to this person, or something like Fate where it's spanned over way more days.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more chances to do it. Is a bit easier. But the general rule of thumb is like don't expect a whale hunt for every tournament. Only, a handful of them will actually get that treatment,
Yeah.
And I'd love to experiment with the format as well, like do smaller, shorter interviews, shorter videos.
Yeah.
Like try other stuff, single person sort of dealies. But it's not easy.
No,
to
it's pretty.
conceptualize.
It's like, I mean, we talked about this already, but we already had a lot of balls to juggle, and now it's like, dang, another one.
Yeah,
Throw it in there.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's very rewarding so far.
sure, for
I've
sure.
really enjoyed doing all the whale hunts. That was something we talked about in the last podcast we did. We'd said with Friezo
Right.
before Fate 2.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
like
we
the
talked about
challenge.
it, like-
Yeah, it was like do this thing to prove that people. For me, my point was that people are going to call me a copycat,
Right.
no matter what happens. But in fairness, that almost never happened.
No, it almost never happened. No.
Almost never.
No. And it's also like Slime hasn't done any of that shit for so long already,
Yeah.
right? Like there's so many people in the scene that are newer than Slime on the scene.
Yeah.
They have never heard of it. Right?
Exactly. So it's a nice, like, also for European Melee in general, it's nice to have this sort of like window into
Yeah.
these top players who we don't
Who they
really-
are, what they're
exactly.
like.
How they react to being clowned on
Yeah.
by some
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
And just in general, the feedback has been really nice. People have been very receptive to
For
it.
sure.
And
Yeah.
there's been people who have been like excited when
Yeah.
when we asked them to do the interview because they know what's happening.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa,
Let's go, yeah.
let's do it. I've had people like ask me to be interviewed and things like that, like later on. So that's, for me, that's the sign of like, hopefully I'm doing something right because people seem to want to be interviewed.
I think we're doing something right.
more whale hunts. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not, it's not that it's dead. It's not that I'm never going to do one ever again,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be like a super frequent thing.
No,
We'll
for
see-
sure.
We'll see how it goes.
It'll be like this, right? Like we haven't done this in so long, but like every once in a while, you get a little treat.
You get a little treat.
You get a little treat.
Get a little something. Get a
Yeah,
little-
exactly. Oh, shout outs to Friezo for doing the whale hunt at DreamHack
Yep.
Rotterdam because I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And also shout outs to Friezo for helping write the jokes.
Yeah. We've had a lot of people sort of collaborate with us on those jokes. Like for those, I mean, nobody knows about the process, I guess.
No, I
because
guess
it's
not.
totally behind closed doors. But it's like, a sheet, basically open up a Google Doc,
Yeah.
write down all the players that are attending that we think we can make something funny about.
Yep.
And then just sit there in a call for like 2
Yeah,
hours.
stare at that
3
white
hours,
wall.
Stare at the white wall.
Right.
Sort of contemplate like if you're even funny to begin with, if you were ever funny.
Dude,
because
it's so confrontational having to think of things and then writing them down and then having to show you like, hey, I wrote this joke. Do you think it's funny? And it's like, yeah.
We could
guess.
spin it, maybe. No, that's literally what I was gonna say. Is like also like you said, when Friezo's involved,
Yeah.
when like Lars or somebody is involved, it's like sitting in a call. silent because we're all thinking.
Yeah.
And then like I'll think of something, and then you have to build the courage to say like, "Hey guys,
what do you think of this one?
about this?" And then you say it, and nobody laughs, and you just sit there like,
you gotta sit with that one.
maybe not.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like it's a banger and the laughter immediately starts, and sometimes it's like you say something, you write something down, and the other person says it aloud, and then it's like, you know what? Maybe I didn't think about it hard enough.
maybe
I'm gonna go back to the white wall.
Or like that's too mean.
Yeah,
or like that's too like in bad taste.
Yeah, it's also like for example, I don't know. Let's say J-Mook. He seems like a very gentle, kind of maybe a little fragile. I'm not. I think I can break his spirit. I think I can break his spirit. What do you think?
He looks breakable. He looks.
It's so breakable. No, but like I don't know. I felt like for J-Mook, you don't want to be like hitting him with the deep cuts or whatever. You know.
Just in general, I think the rule of thumb is always like, if you don't know this person really well, don't assume that you can say something really mean and get away with it, unless you have reason to believe otherwise. Like, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head. I guess Josh Man is a good one. Zane is a good one.
Zane was also
where like we know that they're willing to
fuck around a bit,
play into the bits. Like they are funny people, internet presence wise. They'll do like skits and things like that. So you can kind of poke the bear and have some fun. But other people, it's a big gamble. Like, how are you going to react to this? I remember we cut a question from Will Hunt at Fate 3. It was me asking J-Mook how he feels about being the second best Sheik behind Plup. Like just in general, because I asked Madness the same thing about Ja Ryden, and his answer was pretty funny. But J-Mook was just super humble. Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I really like Plup, and like I really like his playstyle. It's super cool, and like he inspires me to do all this stuff." And I was like, "This isn't funny. This is just like this is just me being an asshole and sitting there and
you just being humble and really nice. Like,
just makes me look like a dick." So I was like.
Hey, it almost happened as well. Like Plup is 5th and J-Mook is 3rd on the ranking of this year.
That's the thing. I'm also glad I cut it because I would have eaten my words instantly. Yeah. But it's you're playing a game of numbers. You're putting down as many ideas as you can on a sheet of paper. Yeah. And you're trying to refine them down to jokes that are like quick, that work, that they can understand almost immediately, that like maybe they'll pick up on and sort of like play into the joke.
For sure.
That was how I felt with Zane. I think he like got it immediately. Like as soon as the interview started, he was like, "Oh,
yeah, it's like this. Okay,
it's like a joke. So let's see what happens." Yeah. And then that comes across in the conversations with those people, you know, like with Josh Man.
Yeah, it was easy.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah,
dude?
It was great. It was great. You didn't even have to cut it. Just do the whole segment in one go. It's amazing.
It was funny as hell just watching it back. Like I also the bit. A lot of people were asking me about this bit. Him not having a shirt on. In the interview, he says, I asked him to take his shirt off. Yeah, that's not true.
No.
I asked him, hey, can we do the interview now? And he said, yeah, can I do it without a shirt on? And I said, sure thing, man. Whatever floats your boat. And we start the interview, and the first thing he says is like, this guy told me to take my shirt off. I was like, this guy's already outplaying me. Like, he knew that this is just some joke-ass, bunk-ass interview.
But how did he know?
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know how someone would have reacted if it was a real interview and he did that. Because it's like, he's just clowning. He's eternally
That would have been
clowning.
so funny as well. like just swing it. Like, oh no, this is a serious interview and you're shirtless. Like what?
But then again, like the mean jabs, like one of the questions we asked Josh Man is like, you recently beat Leffen at LACS and then you got 9th. Like, who are you planning to lose to get 9th today? Or are you planning to beat the like person who's gonna win and get 9th or whatever? And you know, he took it on the chin and almost
like,
immediately
you
like
fucking bottom feed.
Yeah, he's like, you fucking bottom feeding cunt. Like
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
So that's the perfect example of somebody who, you know, is like, I know I can throw anything at them and they'll be fine.
That'll be good. Yeah.
That sort of moment where he asked about taking off his shirt, like reassured me.
It confirms it. Like, okay, he knows it's going to be, you know, fuck around town. And
And it's the same thing as the Pipsqueak interview from Fate 2, where during the interview, I'm getting a little bit nervous that I'm like pissing this person off. Pipsqueak was a lot more like standoffish, like fuck you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're stupid as shit. Like, what are you talking about? Josh Man was more like playfully kind of jabbing me, but I still felt like, oh, maybe I'm crossing a line here. Maybe I said something stupid.
I feel you.
And then afterwards, the reason they're like similar to me in my head, afterwards, it's like positive reception almost immediately.
Both
like
sides,
the cameras are off, and then it's just like, that was really funny, dude. Thank you for that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I spent the last 5 minutes thinking you hated me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then later, hearing from Slime, he was like, oh, yeah, you're the guy who interviewed Josh, man. He was telling me about him, was saying, like, it was a really fun interview and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like, it extends beyond, like, our interview. It stays with people.
People talk.
You know? Yeah. And that was nice to hear. And a bit more, I think that kind of helps my confidence in sticking to my guns.
Yeah.
And, like, if somebody's going to play the stoic or, like, clapback game,
for sure,
I can lean into it knowing that they probably don't hate me.
For sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You never know.
And if they don't hate you, they'll hate me.
Let's go. Yeah, you're my scapegoat. If a question ever goes south, I just go, he wrote it. He wrote it. It wasn't me. He wrote it.
It's the cameraman's fault. It's always the cameraman's fault.
Yeah, I don't know. You have a lot of enemies now because of how many people I told that you wrote those questions. I would show them the cutout questions, like the really mean ones.
I'm
like,
see these
he
mean
wrote that one.
It's always me. It's always me. I never changed.
So yeah, thanks for watching the whale hunt, guys. I really appreciate all the feedback on there and all the reception, and obviously everybody asking about more, because despite the fact that we aren't doing a bunch of them, or like we're not doing one of Valhalla, for instance, still feels good to know that people are like excited.
They're anticipating for it. You're like, oh, I wonder when the next one's gonna be. Is it gonna be at this big tournament or the next one? Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. And I feel like not doing it at every tournament also keeps the expectation away a little bit, where we don't really feel pressure to do it every single time. Yeah. And just take the chance when we feel like it. Yeah.
Has it been rewarding for you? Like, you feel like it's been...
For sure. I mean, I'm not getting the feedback that you're getting, obviously, because people associate the World Hunt with you, because you're the host, and I'm just the cameraman who writes shitty jokes, the mean ones. So, I mean, it's very rewarding still, just looking at the comments and seeing people, respond and all, even if they don't really know that I'm the cameraman or that I'm also involved in the process. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, it's just fun to do it. And then it's also very fun to like watch you do the interviews live and film them. And, it's sometimes it's hard to hold the camera up straight because I have to laugh. It's like, oh shit. Yeah.
Dude, the amount of like, Because there's like the footage and then there's the audio track through the mics. The amount of like camera footage with audio where you can like barely hear the question and then you just hear you like chuckling behind the camera. It's good.
Oh, I never heard that actually.
That's so funny. Because I would always like, especially during the interview, if I said something and it was really funny and you started laughing, then I would have to try not to laugh. That's the only time where I'm like,
oh yeah.
Focus.
Yeah.
don't break here.
It's very nice for me because I don't really have the pressure. Like, you can't hear my laughter on the mic in the post-production, but it's like, I don't have to keep a straight face and do this interview, whatever. I'm just here to film it and just enjoy the view, really.
Yeah.
You look so fine through the camera lens. It adds a couple of pounds. Oh, dude.
Six-pack. No, it's, I also then want to say, like, to anybody that doesn't know, like we said, Casper, he writes a lot of the jokes. He films everything, and he does all the audio editing, so, like, making it sound good and everything. So, and the equipment is also sourced through you. It's not yours, but without you, there's no equipment.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly, this is not, like, a one-man operation. It never was.
Thank you, man.
And if you want to give praise, also make sure you're like praising
me.
both of us, because we're both godlike and
we're
better
awesome.
than you.
Oh, we're so good.
We're better than everybody, really, if you think about it.
Proved it at DSEA.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I did it by sitting there
by
doing
proxy.
nothing, and by proxy,
by yelling at me to do it again 3 times for Smacks.
It worked.
It didn't.
It didn't work.
No.
But I mean, it should have worked. It was a foolproof plan.
Yeah.
And also on that same subject of like audio stuff, some people may not know that we actually there's a whole interview that's not in the Whale Hunt at Fete 3. It's gone.
I still think about that sometimes. Okay, so what happened was we have these microphones which are like wireless, and so it connects to my phone, and I use my phone to record the audio. but it's kind of iffy. And the app I use is the only app I could find that was like compatible with the microphone. But it's kind of iffy, and sometimes it doesn't really save properly. And I'm not sure what happened, but the file got corrupted for the Hungrybox interview, and yeah, it was really unfortunate. And we couldn't use the camera audio either because it was like in a windy area. So yeah, it was cut from the whole thing, and there were some pretty funny things in there. But you know what?
Yeah.
Just for my ears only.
Here's the thing, like, I was skeptical about the HBox interview going in.
Yeah.
Because, not to dig on Hungrybox, but I would say it's one of the people who I would think is more hit or miss.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't know how to gauge, like I said, how hard to go.
Yeah.
Like what I can say to this person without
Yeah.
like offending them. But we just sort of went all in. We just sort of said some mean stuff.
Yeah.
But like in a good, funny way. Like
Yeah.
when it's funny, it's okay to be mean. It's okay to be an asshole.
And he
But
went along with it.
He went along with it. That's the thing. There was some good ones. Maybe I'm not gonna say what the questions are because we might like just ask him to do it again at some other tournament and just hope he doesn't remember.
Oh my God, that
I
would
think
be awful.
I don't think he will remember.
Oh, that's
dude.
awful.
I think
I hate this idea.
it's very funny though.
Oh, no.
Because we have the questions and we've had them for ages.
Oh my God,
because-
I know 100% he's going to be like, you're going to have to check your equipment this time.
Yeah, that was amazing. So yeah, we lost the audio for that interview, and immediately after, Casper's like fumbling around with the phone, like, oh shit, it didn't save, it didn't, and then HBox, he just goes like,
You got to check your equipment. I already felt terrible, and he's like, you got to check your equipment. Like I
That's-
haven't checked. It's just...
that's golden advice, man. You got to hold on to that for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
you got to check
yeah,
your
yeah.
equipment. It's like, if only I
right.
checked my equipment.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nah, yeah. It's okay. It happens to the best of us,
I
apparently.
just thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
That like,
I was actually thinking for like the next whale hunt or whatever, maybe I'll just get my own equipment and like get it sorted well, so I don't have to hold my phone and do
Yeah.
all these annoying things. Maybe even get like a wired mic instead of a wireless one,
yeah.
because it's like a little bit of an investment, but I think it's worth it.
Can talk to Friezo about it as well. He has a lot of experience with like cameras and
Yeah, for the
audio
camera
setups
stuff.
and things
Yeah,
like that. Because at DreamHack, the whale hunt at DreamHack, Friezo filmed that one.
we had different. He had different equipment.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the same. Friezo had the same lav mic,
Yeah.
but it was connected to the camera, not
Yeah.
to like a phone.
Yeah.
So he like the video files I was getting were just the video files with
With
the
the audio already
done,
synced and stuff,
which is really nice because part of the time-consuming part of editing the whale hunt is
syncing it up.
getting the interviews, syncing it with the audio, and exporting that, and then that's like a lot of work before I even started editing the fucking thing.
Oh, I thought you could just group them and then split them up.
Yes, but it's really messy.
Oh.
Like it's much better to do it exporting, like rendering
Right.
the whole
Yeah,
thing
okay,
as like a
fair
single
enough.
file, because then I also have that file that I can reuse if I need to dump another part of
right.
the like.
Yeah.
I'm not restricted to that one instance of the footage.
Yeah.
But then yeah, like maybe another peek behind the curtain. Most people don't know that I also edit the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I usually do it in like a day.
Yeah, you do it in one day. It's always so crazy because it's like, okay, I'm gonna do it today, and then you call me. Usually, it's like, hey, is this right? Like, is this the right order or whatever? We get into a call. Matti helps a lot with that as well, and they all get a sneak peek behind the curtain as well. It's pretty funny. But then it's like you do it in one day, and it's like, damn, dude, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
I am very much. I'm like a flow. I was
Yeah,
about to say
flow
player,
states.
not a flow player. I'm a flow everything kind of person. Where like if I get into it, I have a much easier time doing it quickly than if I like start and
course.
stop and start and stop.
Yeah.
So it's unhealthy because I
Yeah.
sit there for hours and just edit with like
Yeah.
no break, and I get a headache and I get like really annoyed because I'm hearing the same thing over and over again. I've seen the video like 50 times before
Yeah.
it's even done.
I think it's also part of like the creative process, right? Because
Yeah.
if you split it up over multiple days, you're gonna get lost in the sauce as well. Because it's really hard to like, look back at a joke 2 days later and then like watch it and think that it's like funny or in a good position or whatever. Because it's like, oh, you've already heard this 10 times and it's been a couple days and you've been thinking about it as well. It's like
Yeah.
I think it's best to do it in one day, even though it's really draining.
But it's the same with one day even. Like the reason I involve you and I involve Matti and everything is like, yes, to get a sense of order, to get a sense of like, does this flow right? Like,
Yeah.
do you agree? but also to get like some reassurance that it's still funny.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, I'm watching it and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not funny at all. Like,
For sure.
this joke is not funny. It doesn't land. Like, it's not good. And then somebody else is like, that was a real,
Oh,
that was
that's
a really
funny.
good joke. And I'm like, okay, it's just the fact that I've watched this clip 50 times that
Yeah.
I'm now like desensitized to it.
Sure.
And also, obviously, the hurdle of like watching yourself do anything is very weird.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
know.
hard to look at it because I lived it. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah.
watching footage of something I have a completely different perspective on, and I can remember how I felt in the moment and all that. So it's difficult to like look past
Yeah.
that and be like, okay, this is a funny
Yeah.
joke or something.
One of the funny things about the whole whale hunt as well is like when we're recording it, like you ask a joke and then there's a response and then you laugh about it a little bit maybe in between the next ones. But there's like a little break between the first joke and the second joke, or like between the jokes, and you never get to see that. But sometimes it's so awkward.
Oh, yeah. It is really messed up.
Yeah.
I'll be like fumbling around with my cards, going like, hold on a sec, one sec, gotta get this question.
gotta get the-
Okay.
Okay,
So
so yeah, Jmook.
that's I need to work on not
Yeah.
so much that,
I mean-
because that is unavoidable.
Yeah, it's
You-
unavoidable.
You cannot avoid the downtime between the questions, because again, like unless I memorize them all, which
Yeah.
no, not happening.
Yeah.
I thought the flashcards were a step in the right direction.
For sure.
For Fate, having them on paper was a bit easier, but transcribing them,
Oh,
what
yeah.
a hassle. But yeah, I need to figure out how to like cut the habits I have
Yeah.
at the start of a question or something. There's a lot of them that start with like so.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, true,
or
true.
Things like that. But
Yeah,
it's hard,
it's hard
in the
in the
moment,
moment.
because it reminds me a lot of this, of Half Cocked, Half Baked, but it's better in this context where I sit down and we talk and it sort of just like happens.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned with like,
Yeah, you're not thinking about the next question or whatever. Or yeah.
it's just sort of like going. And then at the end of it, you realize like, oh, I should have had more agency over what I was doing. Like I should have been thinking more about it. You know, I shouldn't
Yeah.
have fallen into this like autopilot. But the autopilot kind of bails you out sometimes too.
Yeah, for sure.
But in this setting, it makes more sense for me because we're just talking about whatever. So I don't
Yeah.
really have to think too much. But at the end of a whale hunt interview, I'm like, could I have done more? Did I fuck up somehow? Like how many times did I
Yeah.
say this, or like
Yeah.
like is a bad habit I have. I'll say like quite a bit. So like
I think
trying
it's
to have
human
the-
as well. Like it's hard to like get those human errors out of there as well,
Yeah.
because it's like, you know what?
But I would hope that as I do more, I get better at it. It's just
Yeah.
it's hard to grapple with the fact that like unless I am fully conscious while it's happening, and I'm not to say that I'm like passed out during these interviews, but like that I'm fully there
Yeah.
to sort of like catch myself and
Yeah.
hold myself to that standard, that maybe I'm not improving in that regard, and maybe it's like just going to stay the same.
Yeah.
So that's food for thought, and something I think about quite a bit, but it's not super concerning to me because I don't really care.
No,
Like,
it's also like you know, even if it's in the moment, like these breaks or awkward moments, I don't know, you can cut them out anyway,
Yeah.
or you can edit it in a way where it gets funnier, like post production.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, for example, like the Knuckles interview for Fate 2, where we had the whole section where we went around asking people if they knew Jim Morrison, and then the one TO, I forgot their name.
Yeah.
He went in like just roasting Knuckles for no reason either. Like we didn't even mention Knuckles. He just started roasting Knuckles, and like the way you edited that, like where we asked a question to Knuckles and then immediately cut to that where he's getting roasted and blasted by this
Yeah.
guy, like that kind of stuff. You know, editing is also a skill, like a very artistic thing.
Yeah, it's one of the like major points of failure, I guess, like potential
True.
points of failure.
True, yeah.
Like if it's not, you know, arranged in a sort of interesting pace,
Yeah.
it can get really boring.
Yeah.
And sort of like that's the problem with me sort of like disconnecting with how funny something is.
Yeah.
Because I lived it, is like I want to have a pace where, you know, there's a few serious questions, there's a few funny questions, and then there's like a really funny thing that happens.
Yeah.
And sort of like that pace, not necessarily in that order, but just sort of like sprinkled around.
Yeah,
make sure it's,
sprinkled
like,
around.
evenly spread out, because admittedly, like anything, there are funnier parts and there are parts that are not as funny.
Yeah.
Just, you know, small little gags that are like, get a chuckle out of you maybe, or
Yeah.
like you just smile, you blow air out of your nose.
Yeah.
But when I'm not sure what the funny parts are and what's not, then
gets really
I'm trying
difficult.
to edit it to make it spread out.
But that's
then,
why it's so good to have like Matti or me or Friso or whatever, whoever is in the voice call at the moment, just judge it as well, because they'll have like a fresh outlook on it. They can maybe see the joke for the first time or hear it for the first time, and they can, if you get like a laughing response, then it's already great, right? And then you can like see, okay, this one's a hitter or this one's just a chuckle.
Yeah.
Then you can also gauge it from that. So I think we should just keep doing that.
Yeah, it's also important to me that people that I find funny and that I consider to have a good sense of humor are giving me that feedback, because even if it's negative feedback or constructive criticism, it's almost never like negative. It's almost never like you suck. It's usually like, hey, you should probably move this part here, extend this part or cut this part out. Like I respect that advice. I respect that outlook, because I know that that person is funny.
For sure.
You know, that like they have that,
they got what it takes.
they're capable of making that sort of call to make the content better. So I'm thankful for everybody around me that helps with that.
For sure.
Everybody around us who helps make sure these things get made, because they're like the unsung heroes of the whole process. Like
you don't see it for the end product, but like there's definitely a lot of character as well there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough for Will Hunt, right?
Yeah, I think we've
kind of went on a tangent
exhausted the whole Library of Alexandria there.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, you know, everything seems to be going pretty well right now. Like for us, we're doing okay.
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah.
So that's where we've been.
Dude, it's kind of crazy because last year my goal was like, okay, I want to prove that I can be top 10 in the Netherlands, and then then 2023 happens, the start of it, and then like Adam comes back, Mezzi's there. So many, like Foutenel's like half competing. Maybe he's gonna get on the PR. It's like so many people were like really good. I'm like, probably not gonna get 10th on the PR or below that. And then it kind of happened, and it was crazy. And then DSEA happened, still like mind blowing to me. Like, not that I feel like very different. I always felt like I had the potential to beat these players, but to do it like in this fashion where, I finally beat Happy Meals again for the first time in forever. Like I think I lost 5 sets last year, and now I finally, I'm up 1-0 in 2024. So but it felt like like I smashed through some kind of plateau or something, and I just kept going.
Like a mental barrier.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Because I also so when Bunker Smash was starting, let's say it wasn't like very fresh. It was like quite early, but it took me a while to win one.
Yeah.
I actually, like in terms of skill level there, I'd say I'm in the top 5 people who at any given time could win Bunker Smash, which makes my job as a TO very interesting, because I have a lot of shit to do.
Yeah.
And I also have to play.
Have to win. You have to win.
And I have to win.
Yeah.
But, I there was a Bunker Smash before I had won yet, and it was the lineup kind of meh, like this is the first one that I'm going to where like I can win this.
Yeah.
Because up to this point, Renzo had been coming.
Oh yeah.
Gillis, just the noon, the mainstays, like really good players. And I was like, okay, it's feasible now. This bunker I can win. Taking a shower, step out of the shower, dislocate my shoulder. Literally an hour before the tournament, I dislocate my shoulder.
I remember that.
So go to the hospital, get everything sorted out. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Relocate your shoulder.
Relocate. It was already relocated.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to go into it, but it did it by itself. It was horrific.
Oh my God. Okay.
So then I went to the tournament in the end and hung out, and I was kind of bummed, but I was also like, I'm happy that I'm at least here.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's something I look forward to. So I was like,
Just
I had
chill.
A pretty shitty day, guys. I kind of saw some body horrors beyond my comprehension. So I do want to just kind of hang out and do nothing. And everybody was asking me if I was okay and everything, which felt nice. So it's like when you get injured, you're like the center of attention, which for a narcissist like me is very
that's
important.
great for you.
But then the next tournament, I think I won.
Nice.
But it was over noon.
Oh,
which I'm also very happy about, like
nice.
in general. But I can't remember if he was playing Falco or something. He plays a lot of secondaries there.
Yeah.
And then the next tournament, I was like, well, I won. Like, I'm happy. I'm less expectations, whatever's fine.
Yeah.
And then I won again, but this time I won over Gillis.
Ooh.
I like won in winners finals, and then he reset the bracket in grands, and I won. It was game 15.
Jesus.
Game 5 winners finals, game 10 grands.
Neil better.
And yeah, it was like last stock, last game, and I won. And like for me, the weird thing was that I didn't feel any different than like going into those sets than I did in the past bunkers in terms
Yeah.
of like how much chance I thought I had to win.
Right.
But I feel like just having that sort of like mental barrier unlocked, like you've
Right,
already
yeah.
won this tournament. You don't have to worry too much about how much
Yeah.
it means to you and everything.
Yeah.
Now you're just playing Melee and you're just
Yeah.
doing it for fun, basically.
Yeah, that's the difference for
yeah.
me. For me, 100%. Because at DSEA, I played my pool. I had to play the bottom seed of my pool, and they weren't that good. But we were just like chatting while the game was happening. 'Cause they were obviously not that great, and he was like laughing about it and whatever. And then after the set, he comes up to me. He's like, "What's your goal for today?" And like, I mean, I told him like, well, last year my goal was to make it to top 10 of PR, and I probably made it. That was before the PR was revealed. So I'm pretty happy about that. So today I just want to have fun. That's what I said to him. I just want to have fun. Just want to have a chill day. And then I didn't win the tournament, but it felt like I won the tournament, right? Like, so I got second. I was like, oh, okay. I guess that when I don't put so much pressure on myself, it's maybe easier to get like the results you might want. But now I also feel like a little bit of pressure because of people wanting to beat me more now. Like Aaron, for example, messaged me like, I lapped so many things out now against Pikachu. I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
now your mid-tier advantage is going to fizzle away.
Yeah,
because everybody needs to beat you.
Honestly, I don't really feel like in the Netherlands I have a lot of mid-tier advantages.
I would say it's just matchup and experience. Like,
Yeah.
it extends even to top tiers. Like, I've
Yeah.
played Marths who do not know how to play against Falco.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have no right to not know how to play this matchup.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
for
should
sure. You
figure it
should
out.
definitely. They
And
just quit out against Falcos on unranked.
Yeah, and like same with like Falco Yoshi. Like Yoshi
Yeah.
gets dumped on by Falco, and there's so many Falcos who just don't put in the time to learn
Yeah.
how to play against Yoshi.
But it makes sense if you don't have like a threat or like a Yoshi threat in your region. Like we have all of these crazy ass Donkey Kong, Mario, Dr. Mario, Yoshi, Mewtwo even for a period. Like it makes sense that we're all prepared for those matchups, but like other people aren't, obviously. And I usually feel it mostly against like foxes from like international foxes, even though like the Dutch foxes don't necessarily play a lot against me except for on tournament. It still feels very different because when I play against international foxes, it feels like, okay, I can just do this and it will combo because they won't DI right or they won't do this right. And in the Netherlands, that doesn't really happen. Like if I play against Jim Morrison, he's just going to shine spike me if I go out too deep. Like what?
Well, it's important to note as well. I think we had the most like variation of characters on a PR, on a Dutch PR. I think this year. I think this is the
I think so
most
too.
variation. It was something crazy like
I think 16 different
17,
characters or 17. Yeah.
which is just fucking absurd because now it just makes you realize like
Yeah.
I need to learn some matchups.
So many
Like,
matchups.
I need
Yeah.
to figure some shit out because there's
sure.
a lot of people here who are playing some weird characters.
Yeah. Wacky ass rats, for
Wacky
example.
weirdos playing rats and stuff.
Yeah.
Electric rats.
Rats and monkeys.
Rats and monkeys and doctors.
Very weird. Don't have those in real life.
No shot.
Yeah. All right. So should we just like wrap it up because I think we've been going on for like almost 2 hours
I think
now.
almost 2 hours. Yeah,
Jesus.
but I mean it's been a good catch up
For sure. Yeah.
Hope you guys also have enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure.
Hope you enjoyed the last 2 years with no half cocked, half baked. I hope they were peaceful, and now we're here to stir the pot again.
Yeah.
I guess
until
we should,
next year or two.
until 2027.
Yeah.
No, I think it's important to just sort of address the elephant in the room and just say that like these things are not ever going to be consistent.
No.
It'll pretty much just be when we feel like it, and when we feel like there's stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
In this case, I had a lot of projects already going on, North Holland PR, things like that. And it just sort of like popped in my head that hadn't done this in a while. And for some reason, I was on a warpath to just take on as many responsibilities as I possibly could. And I figured this was a nice one to tack on the list. So,
there you go.
It's cool. But yeah, we definitely had enough to talk about. Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. Just kept going. Well, okay. Thank you guys so much for watching.
See you next time, hopefully. And make sure to tune into Valhalla.
Yeah, Valhalla 3 next week. We'll be there.
What's the next Dutch tournament?
DSEA Spring, I think. That's the only one announced.
Isn't Final Destination?
Oh, yeah,
then?
you're right. It's March 2nd.
Yeah.
Yep.
So go sign up if it's not already full.
Isn't it already full? I think so. Bad luck. See you later.
Cool.